What's up, YouTube? Capo here, and welcome to the third episode of this podcast with Semeraro. I just forget the last O in there. I panicked. And 22. There we go.
Yeah, that's officially part of my last name. When on my birth certificate it says Robert Zachary Semeraro 22.
Just in bold letters.
Yes.
Don't forget that. Don't you forget that. But this week we had we also had the mega draft, but we also had the regular draft, and it's been quite some time. It took a lot less time than last season, which was like around 2 weeks, I guess.
Oh my goodness, this one felt like it was forever. For it to take 2 weeks last time. Oh.
Yeah.
I feel like the other one should have gone faster because you didn't have to think about the lower tier mons. You just keep slapping on OU and BL and UU mods in your gun.
We put some thought into it.
I'm not saying you guys didn't put thought into it. I'm just saying I feel like it would be easier and quicker.
Anywho, well, should we just get right into it? Start with the number one pick?
Yeah, I think we should go down in order by pick. So we're going to start off with Flying Skull 25 and the Tennessee Toxicroaks. They are in the Unova Black division with me and your brother.
So he picked up for the number one pick. It was the Garchomp.
Oh, just real quick, let's preface this. He took, before we say each pick, we should say what mega. He took a Mega Tyranitar.
Oh, right.
So you can kind of get a feel. So Mega Tyranitar was his Mega, and yes, number one overall pick in this year's draft was Garchomp, and I like the pick. He can be kind of special. It can be physically defensive and punish physical attackers with Rough Skin, Rocky Helmet, Stealth Rocks. You know, the only bad side is the 4 times weakness to Ice. But he's fast, he hits hard, and I even experimented a little because Garchomp was the guy I wanted in the first round, and I thought he might fall. So I thought I could get a good fantasy core with him, with Altaria, Garchomp, and Registeel, but it wasn't the case. But I experimented with an Assault Vest, Assault Vest Garchomp, and it looked like it would work pretty well.
Yeah. What I really loved about the pick was that it made so much sense. It made way too much sense because Rough Skin, that Mega Tyranitar is going to bait in physical attackers, so like Match Punch or things like that. It's going to punish those physical attackers with Rough Skin, Rocky Helmet. It's got decent enough defense to be ran as a defensive Pokemon. And like there's only a certain amount of things that can hold Tyranitar and Garchomp.
Yeah, and they kind of answer each other's. I don't know if Rock resist Ice, but an Ice attack to T-Tar is not going to do, like, he could just switch into T-Tar. And obviously there's other picks, but just those two have really good synergy, especially with the sand factor. So
that's it's scary. It's scary.
If you want to go, I was going to go right to the next pick.
Same here. His second pick was the Venusaur.
And there's a trend here with his first 5 picks and then his last 6. His first 5, you can see just straight bulk. Like, Garchomp is, you know, he's bulky, but he's also hits hard. But the rest of his picks are fat.
I didn't realize that until you pointed that out. Oh my god.
He's got Venusaur with his next pick, which I like the pick as well, because basically, with the exception of Ice, it answers every other issue he might have. Fairy attacks, send in Venusaur. What's it called? Fire attacks on Venusaur, send in either T-Tar or Garchomp. It doesn't, like, the 3 work well together. Like, psychic attacks on Venusaur, Tyranitar. Like, it's just, they all 3 work well together. I like the pick. I like Venusaur, because he's gonna, even if he's not Mega, all the Mega does really is give him a slight stat boost, but it gets rid of it lessens the fire and ice weakness. So Venusaur is nothing to sneeze at either with his recovery, his toxic, his sleep powder, all that.
And once again, he's also got another thing to like eat up fighting attacks. And fighting mons are probably one of the hardest hitting things that can hit you. And Venusaur totally answers that question. Plus, it's just annoying. Anything that is a Venusaur, you're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to have a good time with it. Plus, it's got, what's it called? Chlorophyll.
Yeah.
So it can be ran as a really fast mon.
Yeah, it kind of comes in later because he has multiple ways he could approach weather if he wanted to.
Yeah, so that's a pretty cool thing. And we didn't see enough weather teams last season, so I feel like maybe this season it might be the time to showcase that.
Yeah. His next pick is also a very annoying, bulky, strong mon, and it's Jellicent. And I was surprised that Jellicent went this early. Not shocked, just a little surprised. It's not a bad pick. It works well because it gives them the ice resist that they need. Because 2 of the first 3 mons don't appreciate ice. 1 really doesn't appreciate ice. So it's definitely good. It's definitely bulky. It gets recover, scalding things. It's a very good mon. And also, if you want to be extra annoying, cursed body, so you you have a chance to punish things like that want to go for knockoff. That's the reason I thought it would fall a little bit was because of its knockoff weakness, but it's definitely not out of place in the 3rd round. So it like again, he keeps up the synergy with the team. I think he saw that he was developing an ice weakness and wanted to address it, and like he did right there with that pick because Jellicent's going to eat up any ice attack that comes its way.
Yeah, for sure. But it's also with its typing and stuff. It's a bit of a liability too, but things having like Will-O-Wisp, Recover, Taunt, Scald, Water Absorb, since Scald is becoming so popular now, just having that one thing that can, because a lot of his strong hitting mons are physical attackers. The Garchomp, the Tyranitar, they don't enjoy being burnt. Not a lot of things do, but having that Water Absorb and having that free switch and possibly having every time you have like a water Pokemon that can go for a Hydro Pump or Scald or something like that, they're going to think about it twice because there's a Jellicent on his side of the field that could possibly have Water Absorb, and that might play some mind games. Yeah, definitely. With some people. Plus, I think it's one of the better RU mons out there. And I'm guessing, hey, if he's going to have to pick up an RU mon, you might as well pick up one of the best RU ones out there. For sure. So that's why I'm not a bit surprised of why it went away so early. Plus, it's a rapid spin blocker. Like I said, I'm not shocked. I was just a little surprised because I figured, I mean, and then actually I'm not because he's got an electrical resist and electrical immunity, so he covers that one weakness well. And the only weakness that isn't covered by his team at this point would be the dark. Well, no, he's got T-Tar, so it's got that covered too. So because T-Tar resist. So yeah, I'm not shocked by any means. It's a very valuable and versatile Pokemon. So yeah. So his next pick would be the Fortress. Yeah. At this point, I don't hate the pick because I mean, Fortress, it does one thing: it sets hazards and spins them away. But at this point, we got to make note that a lot of good Steel types were gone. They went early. They went fast. They went early. They went often. And it messed me up a little bit, so I had to wait on mine a little bit. First round, second round, first pick was Registeel, was the second Steel type off the board. Heatran went in the first, but that was the first Steel type that was more defensive oriented or support oriented that went off the board. And so after that, quickly you took Ferrothorn, I think, and so there wasn't a huge option left at this point. And as far as bulky, so I'm fine with the Fortress. Like Ferrothorn can be especially defensive, and that's why people prefer it over. And plus, it can leech seed, all that stuff. But I'm fine with the Fortress pick. It fit a need he had, and it Stealth Rocker. I don't know if it gets Stealth Rock for sure, but Stealth Rocker, Spikes, Rapid Spin. It does get Stealth Rock. I really love this pick because I had my own debate too, and the thing with having a draft this big is that there's only a certain amount of rapid spinners out there that are really good and can be really viable in what they do. And Fortress is really good at what it does because it's got Overcoat, Sturdy, it's a Volt Switcher, it's Spike Setter, Stealth Rocker. There's so many things that you can do with it. The only bad thing about it is that it's slow, of course, but the times 4 weakness 2 and the fire, it doesn't hit that hard because you can possibly get set up all over this thing. But other than that, it's good at what it does. And in terms of, did he really need this Fortress this soon? I don't think he did. But it was a really smart choice to bring in a Fortress because most likely it would have gone picked. I think he had to take it later on in the draft. People were looking at Steel types and realizing Fortress was the best, or he's the worst of the best that was left. Because when people draft a Steel type, I think they look for Stealth Rocks. They look for Rapid Spin or something because usually Steel types can take a few hits, so you can afford to get a Stealth Rock off, or you can afford to Rapid Spin. So I think people were looking at these Stealth Rocking / Rapid Spinning Steel types and realized Fortress was the last one. So I think he had to take it this early because I think it would have been gone before his next pick.
I think I might have taken it. I don't remember exactly who I took in the 4th round, but I was looking at Fortress and considering it, and I think I would have taken it in the 5th, before he would have taken his next mon. So I think he had to have taken it there if you wanted it.
But Flying Skull, if you're listening to this, I hope you are. Please run a choice banded explosion fortress.
It could win you a match.
It has to happen. It has to. But with that, we're gonna move on to then his next pick, which totally makes sense. I love this pick. It is the Gardevoir,
and it sets up a fantasy core for him. It's actually not bad because Garchomp can be defensive. It can be offensive, obviously, and then he's got his pure offensive. Well, not pure offensive, but a very offensive mon and Gardevoir, and then the pure defensive mon and Fortress. And so Gardevoir is nice, can do a bunch of things. It can cure status, I think. Can hit hard with its fairy psychic typing. It's definitely a good mon. I don't know if I would have taken it here. I think I might have waited around on it and take something a little, because he had plenty of points left over. He ended the draft with 140 points, so he could have taken something with a little more power here, or just a little more useful. But I mean, I'm not going to knock a pick that gives him a fantasy core of Gardevoir, Garchomp, and Fortress.
Yeah, the reason I really love this pick was because he needed to address that he needs something that hits hard on the special attacking side.
Yeah.
He needed that really bad because his first couple picks, they were really awesome, but they didn't hit hard on the special side.
Yeah.
And that was sort of becoming a really, really obvious thing that I started seeing on his draft. And I was like, when is he going to pick up his first really hard-hitting special attacker? Yeah. And Gardevoir, she does so many things right. We've said this in our Mega pick of Mega Gardevoir. Mega Gardevoir is a beast, and Gardevoir is equally as a beast, having such versatility, and he can do so many things. Destiny Bond, Pain Split, Will-O-Wisp, Thunder Wave, a lot of attack coverage.
Yeah, it's definitely a good pick. I might have, in his situation, I might have looked for something else that had a little more, that hit a little harder. Maybe less versatile, but hit a little harder in the upper tiers, and then went Gardevoir, because like I said, he finished with 140 points, so he could have easily gotten another OUB or a BL. And a mon that was not drafted, I'll kind of spoil that was not drafted, that'll be probably taking the B-League draft. I think Crawdon would have been great for him. Like, not great, but Crawdon has the strongest knockoff in the game. With adaptability, and it can get D-Dance, Aqua Jet. I like Crawdon a lot, and like, it's a physical attacker, but if he could have got Crawdon and Gardevoir, I think his team would be a lot better, and plus he would still even have extra points after Crawdon.
Yeah, that's a bit nuts. Should we go on to the next pick for him? His next pick was the Tauros.
Yeah, I like this pick. Again, I think it should have happened later. I don't think anyone was going to be drafting Tauros that early. I think he could have waited a few spots, but he kind of makes up for it later, so I'm not knocking it because he gets great value later. Tauros is strong, great ghost immunity. I think it's pretty fast. I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't know Tauros that well. Let's see. Let me look it up real quick so I don't look like a complete.
What? It's
100, yeah, 110 speed. It's actually got good defense, so I like the pick as an NU pick. I don't like it this early, but like I said, he makes up for it with his next 3 or 4 picks, so I'm not like going to be too hyper critical about it, because he does put in some great drafting for value after this pick.
I'm not like I love Tauros as a mon. As Gen 1 in the Safari Zone, looking for that Tauros. You want it so bad, but to me, it doesn't really make much sense because he already has so much physical presence on his team that having this Tauros doesn't really make much sense to me. Like, yeah, it gets sheer force, it can get rock climb, earthquake, fire blast, rock slide, zen headbutt. It can learn different things, and it has viable abilities, just like intimidate. That's gonna be awesome, but it just didn't make sense to me because he had so much physical presence on his team.
I don't know if he had a lot of physical presence, but his best offensive mons were physical, T-Tar and Garchomp. And he had Venusaur and Jellicent who are special, but they don't hit particularly hard. Venusaur kinda can, and then he got Gardevoir, but I can see your point. He should have probably gone... again, this would have been a spot where he could have taken a better mon like with his extra points, and got a good special attacker, because there was still some good mons left. I think at this point a Zelf was left, and the Zelf would have been nice. It would have been the second psychic type, but the Zelf gets good coverage too, and it would give him another stealth rocker. So I know he already had 3, but like they all three of his stealth rockers have 4 times weaknesses.
And even Cluster was still available if you wanted to pick something a bit less of value. He could have picked that up, or something else that could have been a bit better.
Yeah.
I like Tauros though. I like Tauros. I just don't like where he went and which team he went to. But however, the next pick really makes up for it. This is one of my favorites. It is the Typhlosion. Yes,
and this is where I'm talking about he makes up for it. Because he needs special attackers, and a fire type gives him that the Gen 1 starter core typing, and Typhlosion's great. Like it gets great. It's a great special attacker, and I mean there's not a lot to say. It was good value here. Like at low points, high value to me.
Once again, he gets another immunity to Will-O-Wisp, which is incredible because Typhlosion now gets the hidden ability Flash Fire, which boosts its Will-O-Wisping or its eruption.
Yeah, the Flash Fire is pretty big because when he has Venusaur in or Fortress and go for HP Fire or a Fire attack, just Typhlosion, guess what? You just gave me +1 or 2 or whatever Flash Fire gives to my fire attacks.
Plus, you put on a focus or a choice band on it, a choice scarf. Sorry about that. A choice scarf, and it'll outspeed a lot of things and hurt a lot of things that aren't resistant to eruption. And if it's at full power, it's a really good mon. I really love this, and this is the thing that he really needed. If he drafted a bit earlier,
I think
it would have made more
Tauros
sense.
And it's Typhlosion, it doesn't look as bad. But also, I think he could have waited on Typhlosion until the second to last or last round. I don't think anyone was like, I want Tauros. And again, I like the Tauros pick. I just don't like it that early.
Yeah. I gotta agree with you there. But the unfortunate thing about Typhlosion is that I think there's only one real viable set. If you want to get a bit cheeky, then you can go with a physical or a mixed physical Typhlosion, so you can run Earthquake instead of something else. But there isn't much versatility on Typhlosion. It's a late game sweeper. It hits hard with Eruption, Flamethrower, Fire Blast. It's got a good ability. There isn't a lot of room for creativity in terms of Typhlosion itself for it to be effective. Of course, you can get cheeky.
His next
and it
pick,
might
I think,
work out,
is one of the best picks of the draft. Just value wise, not obviously like it's not as good as I don't know. It's not as good. It's not as good as his Garchomp first pick, but like this late to get him on with no weaknesses and with the versatility it offers, I don't see any downside really. Electros. And I'm confused a little bit that it was even available because someone took Electivire first. And there's nothing wrong with Electivire. I just feel like Electros would have been better and done similar things. Maybe not as hard, but give more versatility. Electros, I think, can U-turn and Volt Switch. So it adds to that. It can be physical. It can be special, mixed. Like I think it mostly runs Assault Vest. If there's a defensive Electros with like knockoff and stuff, it might run like leftovers or something. But most of the time it runs Assault Vest. That's really the only predictable thing about Electros. If you in this format, in normal formats, it runs set things to deal with common threats in the tier. But in this format, it can run just stuff you wouldn't expect. Yeah,
it's a pretty awesome one that I really like it. It's even got Dragon Tail for crying out loud. Like what? It's got Gastro Acid to nullify the target's ability. The only reason I know that was because I think I faced against one, and it did that, and I was like, "What? Why?" And I had no ability. So it's a really nice pick. It's really bulky. It's what he needed. And if you haven't noticed in the RBL, there wasn't a lot of electric Pokemon left in the later rounds.
Oh yeah, in my initial draft plan, I was like, I need a fast electric type. Those kill in this format, and I couldn't get the fast electric type, but I did get some Volt Turn Mons with some decent speed. But I wanted like a Jolteon or a Raikou. It just didn't work out that way. So getting Electros this late when those were gone early, well, Raikou didn't even get taken, but in the A League, which shocked me. But to get Electros, because he couldn't have taken Raikou this late for anyone not in the RBL watching, because where we have a second league, we cut off at 12 Mons. If everyone in the A League met their roster requirements, which they did, it was cut off the OUA and OUB because it hit 12, so that everyone in the B League could get at least some power. So he couldn't have got Raikou here, so Electros was the best electric type I think left, and because it had no weakness and such versatility, and I think he hit a home run with this pick because it can be physical, it can be special, it can do knockoff, it can do so many things. It was one of my favorite picks of the draft.
I really love it. But his next pick, once again, considering it's this late in the draft, where I think this is round 8 or 9, and he picked up the Hitmontop.
Another one of my favorite picks.
This is such a bulky mon. It's an intimidator. It just puts on that extra pressure and it nullifies all physical attackers.
It's another mon, assault vest candidate. It doesn't have to run assault vest, but it also gets technician. So its priority moves get a little boost. If he wanted to, I think mostly you're gonna run intimidate.
Special.
No, I'm saying just intimidate. I think you're gonna run intimidate most of the time, unless you for some reason you turn him into a just an all-out attacker. I don't see the value in that for Hitmontop, especially when you have like Tauros and Garchomp and stuff like that. It depends on the matchup. But getting one of the best rapid spinners just because how bulky it is, and the intimidate, because you can go full on specially defensive with some like leftovers and then the intimidate, or you can go assault vest with some defense, max HP. You can get pretty, like, its moveset stays relatively close. There's like 10 moves that you kind of use for Hitmontop's moveset, maybe a little less, but with the IVs and stuff like that, the IVs is definitely where you can get creative with him. The IVs and the items is where his versatility really lies, at least in my opinion.
I love it because it brings that extra rapid spinner on his team, and it becomes a bit less predictable on, hey, is he going to bring the Fortress or the Hitmontop, and which one is going to have the rapid spin?
I think my bold prediction for this team is we see Hitmontop more than we see Fortress.
I don't know. I think it might be I feel like the Fortress is going to come out and Hitmontop is just going to be
situational. I like I said, it's my bold prediction. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Fortress more because of that fantasy core, but my bold prediction is you see Hitmontop more than you see Fortress. Because of the weaknesses. But yeah, let's move on to his last pick.
I love this pick, the Glaceon. I really love his later on picks. I don't know, like...
Yeah.
For considering that they were that late, he picked up some great mons.
He got some power late.
He got the Glaceon, and I do believe Glaceon is a special attacker, right?
He actually was looking that up right now because the evolutions are weird. Glaceon is a bulky special attacker. And when I say bulky, it's 110 defense, 95 special defense, but it only has 65 HP. But it has the defenses and it has 130 special attack. So, being a pure ice type, it's a crappy type. Pure ice type's not great at all because you have 1 resistance, which is against ice types, and you have 4 weaknesses. So it's not fantastic, but the mon itself, the base stats, because I think Glaceon, if it had 1 other typing to it to help with some resistances, it would be at least a UU mon. But it's slow, so you're gonna have to probably get it in on a slow baton pass or something. I don't think he has 1 baton pass user. But like if you can get it in on the right matchup, it can hit hard and not like I know I wouldn't appreciate it getting hit by it.
Oh no. What I like, perhaps you could slap in a choice scarf on it. Once again, I'm fond of my choice scarves. I like my scarves, but perhaps you could slap on a choice scarf, and it may have really bad resistances and stuff, but maybe if you slapped on a choice scarf and surprise something like, I know the ice type moves hit really hard in this game. If you have a good ice Pokemon, then
I think. Oh, sorry. I thought you were done. My bad. I was just saying. I think he took it almost because he looked at our division and realized I have not a huge ice weakness, but a lot of my key mons are weak to ice. I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3 mons weak to ice. So I think he saw he needs some ice stab, and it's not a bad pick anyway. But I think he saw he needs some ice stab and went that way.
Yeah, I totally forgot about the divisions and stuff. But I guess that's a good segue on talking about his team in general and the synergy that would.
I think his team has fantastic synergy. He kind of went heavy on the physical attacking side early, up to Tauros, but he got Typhlosion, who's special attacker. He got a very versatile, very versatile Mon, and Electros. I almost said Electivire. Glaceon's a special attacker, and I think Hitmontop's more. You gotta look at him as more as a defensive Mon than an offensive Mon, obviously. So I don't really look at him as a physical attacker, but getting close combat, he can hurt some things. So yeah.
Yeah, I do like his team in general and how hard it hits. The only thing that I think that it lacks is just some special attackers, because of course you're going to figure that Gardevoir and Typhlosion are going to come out, or even the odd-time Glaceon. I don't think Glaceon will get a lot of play time, but I think you'll see a lot of Typhlosions and Gardevoir, and that's just because they're one of the hardest special attackers on his team that can be used effectively and efficiently. So that's the only thing that I figure that's a bit predictable on his team, and he might prove me wrong throughout the season, be like, well, guess what? Tyranitar is a special attacker now, and everyone's going to be like, wait, whoa, what did you do?
Yeah.
He can prove me wrong, but the rest of his team is unpredictable. From like rapid spinners to bulky physical, like he's got a fat team. He's got a really fat team, and you don't really know what he might bring in for walling hits. What he can dish out in the physical side is uncanny, having Garchomp, Tyranitar, Tauros, Hitmontop at some point too, and even the Electros can be, it can swing both ways, or 3 ways sort of. So in that general sense, the special attack is a bit predictable, but the rest of his team is, it's not predictable. It's going to be tough to prepare for his team. It's going to be really tough. And especially like if you're looking up at division battles, it doesn't do so bad against the other teams, which are the Dallas Starmies and
I think the
Crobats.
Starmies did a little better in prepare. Like I've looked at this extensively, but just a quick anecdote. I think the Starmies did a little better preparing for my major threats, but I just clicked on the wrong team. I meant to go to the Toxicroaks again. But he definitely has answers to a lot of my threats, but I think he didn't do enough to answer my Altaria. Just a quick summary of the division, because to answer my Altaria, he's really got Electros and Venusaur, and that's it. All right, so let's move on to the next one, and that is the Dallas Starmies. So his Mega was Mega Gyarados, Dark Water type, and then there was an issue where he missed his pick in the first round, so he moved late to the end of the first round, so he didn't quite probably get what he was looking for. I don't know for sure, but he ends up getting Hippowdon.
This was something that he wanted. I'm a bit surprised, like considering that he missed his pick. He wanted the Hippowdon just because personally I know Crump himself. He wanted something bulky. He felt like last season he didn't have that bulk, and having the Gyarados with the Hippowdon sort of adds that versatility of, hey, Gyarados may be weak to fighting types, but Hippowdon can take physical hits for days and days and days. Plus, he addresses a Pokemon that can recover, a Pokemon that can set up rocks, set up sand. It can do a lot of things, and you can do it quite well. And I do believe Hippowdon was one of the best Mons in Season 1 because he was used by Joseph. Yeah,
I think Hippowdon's an underappreciated Mon, kind of, like, not by like the people who play it constantly, because everyone knows how good Hippowdon is. And I love the pick. One thing I see, though, is they're not going to appreciate special grass types.
Yeah.
Like, his team as a whole but I feel like Hippowdon and Gyarados are going to be 2 months he considers to bring almost every week. And so when he plays, like, Mega Venusaur and Serperior and stuff like that, and even, like, if he plays Mons that run HP Grass, they're not going to one-shot it. Serperior, I think, will one-shot, but the HP Grass won't one-shot, but they're not going to appreciate it. So, like, that's something to look out for when the season starts, is if he's bringing these guys every week. And he has resistances to the grass. Definitely, it's not like this huge issue, but it's something to keep your eye on.
His next pick was the Clefable, and I personally love this pick because...
Me too.
Not only does it neutralize his #1 weakness, which was grass, it neutralizes Serperior. Because Serperior alone, without the Leaf Storm, has pitiful stats, and it can't do a lot of damage. And having that unaware Pokemon, that's fantastic.
I like the Clefable pick a lot, and I want to point this out. He has the sneakiest good fantasy core.
That's what he was talking about earlier on.
No, I guarantee no one's like, oh, Dallas Starmies have one of the best fantasy cores. They don't have the best fantasy core, but they have one of the better ones, and they did it late. They made sure they got a good fairy type, which I think is not key, but is very good to get, and that's why I wanted to do it early, and that's why my Mega was going to be a fairy, because there's not a lot of good fairy types like just regular Mons, and I think he got one of the best fairy types, and he got great value later for his fairy core, and I think I like his next pick, but the pick after that is kind of questionable to me, and a couple others, but I think he definitely got good value in Clefable.
I love Clefable. It's unpredictable. It does a lot of things, and
sure.
It's just annoying.
Yeah, I'm already dreading it, and I just realized we're doing both my division people early. I've been looking for answers to it quickly.
His next pick was the Nidoking, and once again, this is perhaps one of the best mons in this format.
Yes, because it's so versatile. It's
so unpredictable. It's crazy what it can do. Sheer Force is a thing. Life Orb is a thing.
Special
Nidoking is a thing.
Stealth Rock. I think this was more. I think he could have waited around and maybe got something a little better. But if, like I said, it's kind of like the guy on the last team. I can't remember them on his second pick. He could have the Arcanine. That was it. He could have waited on it. But if he didn't think it would fall, which it might not have, it's fine with where it's at. Because it's definitely a powerful mon. And it's definitely something. I think he took it more so because he didn't want to face it. Because Nidoking hurts Clefable pretty badly.
Yeah.
And so, it has massive coverage. It has massive versatility. So it's not just, I need to take this so I don't have to deal with it. It's I need to take this so I don't have to deal with it and I get a badass mon. So
badass motherfucker.
I love Nidoking, and I really wanted to take one of the Nidos, but it just didn't work out in my plans. So.
Yeah, like I said, I love the Nidoking. It matches well with his team, but still, he has that great common grass weakness. And his next mon is the Sigilyph.
And I like, it's not bad. I just don't see why this early he took Sigilyph. And again, I know very little about Sigilyph. I just feel like he risked a whole lot taking Sigilyph this early if he had a reason to take it. And I think I don't know. I'm gonna let you handle this one. I don't see why Sigilyph went here.
I was in Sigilyph earlier on in when it was introduced and sort of in the RU and U, somewhere in between there. And Sigilyph is one of the best mons to totally nullify fighting Pokemon.
Yeah, true.
And it has Psycho Shift, which means if you put a burnt orb on it,
yeah,
that's 100% Will-O-Wisp always hitting on the opposite end. It's got great ability, that being Magic Guard, and something else that I don't remember, but mostly it runs Magic Guard because no Stealth Rock damage, no poison damage, no burn damage.
Yeah.
It can run Life Orb, so it can be quite a physical, an attacking mon. It's got decent speed, which I believe is like, well, correct me if I'm wrong, it's somewhere between 100 to 110
did you
in
say
that range.
Speed? Its speed's 97.
Yeah. Let's see, Sigilyph.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now because I don't know much. It's got good special attack and decent speed, or good speed. But other than I think it's more. Yeah, I can see more now. More why it was second row. I still don't love this pick, but
plus the moves that it has, it's pretty crazy.
It does have good abilities. I want to point that out. Tinted Lens, so even if it hits a not very effective move, the move still does double the damage it would after it's reduced. And then Wonder Skin reduces the accuracy of status moves towards this thing by 50%. What is Will-O-Wisp? Will-O-Wisp is like 85%. So basically cut that in half. And so I can definitely see the value. I just don't think I would have taken it this early.
I think it's a great, I'm fond of Sigilyph. It was one of my first mons, so it was one of those sleeper mons that we didn't expect to see drafted so early on. It's like the Jellicent. I guess he had a plan to go with the Sigilyph, and
there's
he wanted
another reason
to...
I don't like it more, and it's a common ice type weakness. He has a couple resists to it, but the ice type weakness on it seems a little more prevalent than the last team. But it works well with his team with what he has for sure. I just think he could have waited on it and got some better upgraded versions of mons he has later. Yeah.
Should we go on to his next pick though?
Because he sniped me, the stupid man. Just kidding. No hate at all, but I decided after Registeel got taken, I wrote up a mock draft to try and get keeping myself gathered so that my plan that was shattered and my hopes and dreams were gone, I could get something in order. And I picked this exact round to take my OUB and a Steel type Magnet Zone. It does. I like Magnet Zone. I like it equally with the Scavalier. They were side neck and neck, but I wanted to add even more Volt Turn to my team. I wanted to trap Steel types. I wanted to hit them hard. And Magnet Zone does all that. And plus, I wanted an OUB that I would actually like. I didn't like much of the OUB, but I do kind of like Mammoth Swine now in retrospect. He sniped me from Magnet Zone. That's all I'm going to say after that.
I like the Magnet Zone. It's from the championship team of the Bavarian Beedrills, and it provided to be quite clutch in the later, in like the finals and the semifinals. So maybe that might have influenced his decision on Magnet Zone, but possessing that ability to trap Steel type for 1 is a unique ability. Plus, it has 30 decent attack, and it's a Volt Switcher, which is always awesome because at this point he doesn't have any U-turners.
Yeah, and it's bulky and has good special attack, so it's definitely and if the other team doesn't have Steel types or doesn't have Steel types, he's worried about he can run an analytic and like run a negative speed nature and like get slow thunderbolts and stuff off.
But you can see there's going to be like a common theme in a lot of these draft picks. They start off really high on the list, but then they go to things like Hitmonlee. It's a good fighting mon. It's a good fighting mon, but I'm not so fond of Hitmonlee just because it can only do one thing. I do believe it gets rapid spin though.
But I would have rather seen Hitmon top here. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I get kind of like I was talking to one of the B League guys and they said. I want like just now they were talking to me like why we at the very beginning of this and they were like, yeah, but I think about drafting Hitmonlee. I'm like, well, you can't. He's gone. What? He's gone. I was like, I think that's a good reaction to the pick because like Hitmontop's better. It's just Hitmontop's better. Period. It does the same thing better. And it like I don't understand. Well, maybe the points he was worried about, but I don't know. I can't think of why.
I'm going to try to justify this, but I'm a bit confused about the Hitmonlee pick too, just because in general we're a bit confused, but it's got decent attack, special defense is alright, its speed is okay. In regards of its ability though, I think this is where Hitmonlee might be justified just because it has Reckless, it has Unburden. Yeah. Having an ability like Unburden is really nice because suddenly it outspeeds half of the tier and half of your mons are going down to this thing that you don't really think is a big threat. Possessing an ability like Reckless, we know how strong Reckless Staraptor is.
Yeah, the only reason I could think of for taking him is the points, because Hitmontop would have been much better. His abilities are better, but if the points were an issue, I can kind of see getting him on pure fighting type, rapid spin, knockoff. So I can see it. Yeah. But he definitely makes up for it with his next pick, and he finishes his fantasy core with this pick, and he got Salamence, Moxie, Intimidate. Like if he had Hitmontop and Salamence, 2 Intimidators, that would, and he could have Intimidate Gyarados before he Mega Evolves. That would be just nerve-wracking, annoying, every other word you could describe it. But I like this pick. Gets him, like I said, one of the sneaky good fantasy cores. Yes, Salamence is 4 times weak, but so is Garchomp, so is Hydreigon. Most dragons have a 4 times weakness because dragon's that good of a typing. It needs something to nerf it a little bit. So getting Salamence with, its special physical, bulkier, Dragon Dance, all of that with Intimidate and Moxie, there's not, obviously everyone knows Salamence is a good mon, so there's not really much to say, especially getting it this late.
I was going to save this for later. I think this is an incredible pick. Like for this round, this is one of my favorite picks, just because I think Crump is the only person to have 2 potential Dragon Dancing Pokemon. The fact that they complement each other so well, Salamence and Mega Gyarados, that is frightening. That is really frightening because not only do you have to worry about, okay, like Gyarados, Max Punch, Drain Punch, Close Combat. Salamence resists that. Okay, Salamence is in. Gyarados, let's do an Ice Shard, Ice Punch. The other thing that it addresses is his Grass weakness. And that's incredible because he had such a big Grass weakness. And Salamence with the Mega Gyarados complements each other so well that he's always going to have that potential dual Dragon Dancers that could potentially sweep your team. So this is why I really love this Salamence pick. It made way too much sense. 2 Dragon Dancers that complement each other. That's the only thing that, like I said, he makes up for it a lot with his Salamence pick rather than the Hitmonlee
they complement each other great, and I wasn't even looking at that before, so that makes the pick even better. It might be one of the best pick for values there is, because I think the best pick in the draft, like I don't have a best pick in the draft, but I think it'd be higher up. But yeah, after Salamence, we have another solid pick. I wouldn't say it's amazing, but it's late. You can take chances to slay the draft, and it's about what works for you. And Emboar. And Emboar has surprisingly good coverage. It gets Head Smash, which is one of my favorite moves. I ran an Emboar with Head Smash all the way through the Elite Four multiple games, just because I love it. It was fun. I'm about to look up its base stats because I honestly don't know. My only information on Emboar is from just playing with it without looking, and it's offensive. It's offensive as all hell, and good HP. It has awful defenses and speed, but 110 HP to kind of balance it out a little bit. The only bad thing is if it gets leech seeded, it's going to give off a bunch of HP to the other guy. But 123 base attack, 100 special attack with moves like Hammer Arm. What is Heat Crash? I've never even heard of that move. Yeah, but it gets Head Smash, it gets Hammer Arm, it gets obviously Fire Blast, Flamethrower, it gets Grass Snot, it gets Poison Jab, Rock Slide, Stone Edge, Will-O-Wisp, Focus Blast. It gets like a bunch of good moves, Wild Charge that you wouldn't think EQ obviously. So it gets some nice coverage.
Yeah, the only thing about Emboar is that it's really slow, so most likely it is gonna run a Choice Scarf. Plus, it has the ability Reckless, which means a lot of things are going to get boosted from its wide range of coverage. So that Head Smash, that's going to do more damage. That Wild Charge, it's going to do a lot of damage. Flare Blitz, hell's going to break loose when this thing comes on the field, and there's nothing that can outspeed it.
Firefighting is obviously a pretty decent type. It cancels out the Fairy weakness. But Heat Crash is Fire Gyro Ball. Yeah, so
I didn't know that was a thing.
he gets Fire Gyro Ball if you really want it. Or no, it's Fire. It's not Fire Gyro Ball. It's Fire Heavy Slam. Sorry, weight, not speed.
Oh,
okay. Yeah,
weight. That's the weight.
So yeah, it's not a bad pick. Definitely. The next 2 picks, I'm kind of meh on. The last pick, I have a little rant. Not a rant, I would say. But the next pick, I can see the value. I'll let you talk about it more since this is more your area. I don't hate it. I don't like it.
I'm so mad because I really wanted this Chinchino that he picked up because I know how valuable Chinchino is. It's really fast, 115 base speed. It's got decent attack.
True.
Break through subs. I love Chinchino so much because you can slap a choice band on it and it takes out a lot of things that don't outspeed it. It one-shots a Dragonite. It one-shots... It might one-shot a Rotom Wash. It one-shots a lot of things that normally that you don't think that it would one-shot. And it's a really incredible mon for where it is and for where it was drafted. And I'm so mad that
the only reason I don't like it is because you know what it's going to do, and it's not that hard to counter. Because it doesn't get a move that, like, you just send a fighting type in, and it's...
Yeah, you got to get the switch in there.
Yeah, so it's not, like, because none of its moves that it gets, like, that hit multiple times can hit a fighting type. So, unless I'm missing something, which I very well could be. So, I get the value, and it's not an awful pick, and that's why I'm like, meh, but it's easy to counter. So you're not gonna see it a lot. But if you can get it in the right situation, or if you save it for late game, it can be a pain in the ass. And you saw me play Rickard, who had one, and he had King's Rock Chinchino, and
oh my God,
it was awful. But we're at the last pick, and he took Sneasel, and I don't like this pick. It's the first pick between this and the Megas that I just flat out don't like. Like, I get that he wanted Stab Ice, which we see a lot of Stab Ice in the last round, but it's not that good. Like, it's got 95 base attack and it's quick, but it's if you don't run focus sash, just getting one shot by almost anything and a BL up, because its defenses are like 55. And with the sash, even with choice or with max attack, adamant, like unless you hit a 4 times effective or a frail 2 times effective, it's not going to do a whole lot. So I think he could have got something different here. And like I said, it's the last pick, so it holds a lot less weight than if he screwed up his first pick. But I wouldn't say he screwed up. I just don't like the pick at all because it's a 4 times weakness. And it does Ice Shard, knock off, fake out, and then something else.
I'm a bit neutral on this. This might be his Swirlix pick once again. The infamous Swirlix or Slurpuff. Yes. The infamous Slurpuff pick from last season. This might be one of them. In regards of viability and stuff, Dragonites are a thing.
I think it's more sorry, I just want to get this in real quick. I think it's more viable than I'm giving credit for because I'm kind of weak to ice, and I think we talked about the Toxicroaks being a little weak to ice. Let me look real quick. So I think he felt like he needed stab ice. The Toxicroaks have Garchomp, but they're not weak to ice besides that. So I feel like he needed some stab ice, and I guess he did, but he could have got Glaceon, I'm pretty sure. Or no, yeah, he could have got Glaceon. He could have got Glaceon, and so I think he could have got a better ice type. The pick, I just don't like the pick. I think he could have got better value there. Like Crawdon. Crawdon's a dark water type.
He didn't have the point.
Oh wait, he didn't have the points.
I think
that's my bad.
The main reason why the Sneasel was picked, just because he didn't have a lot. I think he had to pick an NU Pokemon in order to meet the requirement, and at that point there wasn't a lot of NU Mons left, or NU Mons that seemed to benefit him in that way.
Ice type.
So I guess Sneasel was like literally the best mon out there.
Yeah, I mean, I would have gone with something else and just said whatever, I'll run HP Ice on something. So I think I would have looked for something with a little more versatility at that. I mean, I'm sure it's NU, so there's not a whole lot of versatility because most of the versatile mons at least make it to RU. But I can't say I hate the pick outright because I don't know what was left and what he was looking for, but I can say I don't like the pick. Okay.
All right, guys, and
next
the 7th pick well, I guess he was ranked 7th, but he drafted the Altaria, and his very first pick was the Infernape.
Yes.
And I love the Infernape. It makes sense with the Altaria. However, it does have a common fairy weakness right away. That's a big viability, but Infernape's not bulky.
He's not bulky, and he's neutral to fairy.
Sorry about that.
But I can see the issue. But, I mean, I don't think it would have been that huge even if he was, because he's not living more than, like, 3 hits on a good day.
Yeah. But I do love the Infernape because it's so unpredictable. It's a stealth rocker. It can hit you. It has priority. Heat Wave, special attacker. Overheat. Sorry about that, not Heat Wave. Overheat. That's a thing. And whenever you go against Infernapes, it's always going to be a sucky time because it can hit you in so many different ways and it has such great coverage. So in regards of it being his very first pick, I love the pick. It makes sense considering he was 7th in the draft. I think Infernape would have probably gone pick as you go down the draft.
Yeah. I drafted him because my first pick got taken. I wanted Garchomp. But I still wanted to get a Stealth Rocker in the first round, and I kind of prefer this pick over Garchomp now that I look at it because I can go special, I can go physical, I think he gets knockoff, he definitely gets fake out, then he gets other priority like Mach Punch, and then there's stuff like U-turn and stuff like that I can do. So I'm not upset about the pick even though he was my second choice.
Plus he's really fast. He's really fast.
Yes.
And that makes up for Altaria's speed. Then it sort of becomes a bit obvious that with your second pick, you picked up the Thunderous Intherion. In terms of it being a single mon and what it does, it's great. Prankster, Thunder Wave is always something. I do believe it has Tailwind, different things that it can set up with. Taunt.
Yeah.
It has Sludge Wave. I do believe it has Sludge Wave, right?
Yes. Or Sludge Wave or Bomb. I can't remember which one, but it has one of them.
So in terms of that, it's pretty viable in all retrospect. But in terms of the team himself, he's starting to get a common Stealth Rock weakness, and it's starting to become a bit obvious if he doesn't Mega Evolve his Altaria right away, then a lot of those mons aren't going to appreciate the rocks. It's just back to back, it didn't make sense to me.
Well, the mindset was, well, it was more of a panic pick. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted steel, Registeel bad. I didn't think it would go. I thought it'd go in the 3rd round, and I thought you would take it in the 3rd round. So I was going to take it 2nd round, and I thought I was safe getting it 2nd round, but I went 1st pick 2nd round. So I was, at that point, I was just looking at speed control. I was looking for speed control, and I was looking for a little bit of versatility as far as like if I wanted to wall a Chansey or something, like not just a Chansey, but wall something like a Whimsicott or a Chansey with taunt. And Thunderous lets me do that. And yes, there's a common Stealth Rock weakness, but Infernape's neutral to Stealth Rock, so it's not huge. But I did notice the issue after my next pick. Like with my next pick, I noticed it, but later you'll see how I address that as well.
Yeah, so his next pick is the Crobat. I love this pick. Like, in terms of the Stealth Rock, like, as obvious that is, the Stealth Rockness is real, but I love Crobat. It hits so hard. Flying types are really good mons to have, and having a flying mon that is that quick, that nothing that isn't Mega will outspeed Crobat. Cross Poison is a great move for the infamous berries that are now such a threat. Plus, it deals with a really important thing on his division rival, which is Crump, that has the Clefable.
Yes.
So having that possibility, it really deals with that. Because at the same time, you do have to take a look at what team you're going to be playing 4 times in those 4 matches that you're going to be playing all the time. You got to take in mind of that. The only thing that it didn't make sense to me was, once again, the Stealth Rocks, but like you said, you do address it later on.
Crobat was more of a was a thought out pick. Right here, I was leaning toward. I honestly wasn't. I was leaning towards a couple things, but in hindsight, they didn't make sense for what I wanted to do later in the draft. I was leaning towards an OUB, but there wasn't any OUBs I liked at this point, and I managed to get a great OUB later, like way later. But I wanted rock removal, and I wanted something that was fast and that hit hard, and that I could, if I really wanted to, make it bulky and annoying. And Crobat can do all of that. It's not bulky well, like it can do it, but it's not something you want to bring every week. But I wanted Defogger, I wanted Recovery, and I love Crobat. That's why I'm called the Kentucky Crobat. It's one of my favorites. It's my 2nd favorite Pokemon, I would say, besides Tangrowth.
Yeah, there's that too.
Besides Tangrowth, it's like my 2nd favorite Mon, and I just really need a way to get rid of rocks here.
Yeah, and I guess that's a really good point too. I do believe your next pick is the Umbreon, and if anyone's played this game long enough, they all know that Umbreons are one of the bulkiest mons if you let it become really bulky. They are near to impossible to take down, but they can Toxic Stall your whole team, and they do a lot of things right. They can pass on Wish, Moonlight, or they can recover with Moonlight, not pass that. Toxic,
Foul Play.
Foul Play. Its ability Synchronize really nullifies what you can do on Umbreon. Heal Bell too. I do believe it can pass on those curses too to other things like Baton Pass. So it makes sense to me. Like it's a really awesome pick. I love Umbreon. I hate going against Umbreon. It's one of those things, you know, you hate the Mon, but you love it when it's on your team because it does what it's supposed to do.
I had my eyes
good.
on Umbreon pretty much from the start. Not necessarily this early, but as my draft went on, I realized I needed bulk. The only bulky mons I had were Altaria if I wanted it to be bulky, and Crobat if I wanted it to be bulky. I need a full-on, this mon is bulky, it's made to be bulky, and I need a wall, and Umbreon obviously fits that to a T. And it can be a special, it can be a physical, it prefers to be special, and it can stall, it can outright hit, it can be a cleric, it can pass the teammates' wishes, curses, whatever. So I like the pick. I really like getting it here. I thought I might get sniped. I almost took it where I took Crobat because I was concerned that someone might go Umbreon early, not just out of fear of not wanting to deal with it. But that was more paranoia than actual thought process. So I held off. I got the Crobat, which now I like that I held off. Then I managed to get Umbreon.
Yeah. Umbreon is a great mon. Like, I've never seen an Umbreon get one shot. Never. So it's really awesome to see that. Just because you were lacking in the bulk, I didn't realize that until you said that. But your next pick really makes up for Alteria's weaknesses, and that's
Scavalier.
It's been some time. I'm getting.
So you can call LeBron to make it easier.
I don't know how I feel about this mon. I think this is one of the weaker spots on your team. The common theme that I noticed in the RBL was getting that fantasy core.
Yeah.
I don't know when it became a thing, and to be honest, I didn't hear about it until I think you and your cousin talked about it. I didn't know that was a thing, and it seemed to be a common thing in this round's draft. And getting those steel type Pokemon were becoming really rare now at this point of the time. So for where it was, I think it was one of the last remaining
at
strong
this point
steel
I had
type
two
Pokemon
steel types left that I thought were worth a damn, and it was Magnezone, who got sniped from me, which I mean it didn't get taken from me because he took it, and the Scavalier, and I wanted Magnezone over a Scavalier, but I thought about it, and the Scavalier only has one weakness, so my Magnezone has 3. And they both share a 4. They don't share one, but they both have a 4 times weakness. So I'm not upset about the pick, but Magnezone does more. But it's hard for. Now it's been pointed out to me. It's hard for somebody to switch in on an Escavalier because of its coverage and how hard it hits.
That's true. You have to have something that is specifically made for him. But even then, it doesn't really handle any hits that well, just because this thing can hit you so hard. However, I think it has a limited amount of time that I can stay in a battle. It's not one of those mons that's just gonna be like, you know what, I'm gonna chill here for a bit. I can take hits for days, and it has its flaws and its pros.
Oh, for sure. I that's why I kind of went to Magnezone a little more, because I could get Magnezone out. I didn't have to sit in there. More so when I have to switch a Scavalier out, hard switch it. But with 2 picks in my draft, I think I kind of help Escavalier. I don't address anything, but I do give him more longevity with Umbreon and another pick later. So I think I give him more longevity than he would normally have, because I made sure I didn't have to worry about Will-O-Wisping on Mons and stuff like that.
Yeah, and speaking of helping out your team, I do believe this next pick, the Blastoise, helps your team so much, because there was something that you really needed, and that was a Rapid Spinner that could take hits. So you could always get the Rapid Spin off, and Blastoise perfectly fits the bill. Plus, he also addresses that you needed a water Pokemon to have that stab water. So, for where it was picked and why you picked it, it made sense. I loved the pick. I was like, all right, he's addressing his problem. That's great to see. That's really great. But I'm like I said, I'm looking at your team for the first time. There's a common Thunder and a Stealth Rock weakness on your team. Well, sorta.
Well,
I take that back. I retract that statement.
I think Blastoise helps. Like, I knew Stealth Rocks was an issue for me. So the last half of the draft is me drafting mons that I know aren't weak to Stealth Rocks or can handle it. And Blastoise is not weak to Stealth Rocks and Rapid Spin. So that was the main selling point for Blastoise for me. The bulk was extra. The water typing was extra. The decent coverage moves was extra. It was the Rapid Spin and the non-super effective rocks that made me want to take him.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go for it.
Why Blastoise instead of Hitmontop?
I wanted a water type that had more coverage than Hitmontop has. So So Hitmontop is great, but I wanted more coverage out of my Mon, and he doesn't get priority, but he gets like Dark Pulse, he gets Dragon Pulse, Ice Beam, its own Water Stab. So I felt like I wanted more coverage, because I mean I have a lot of coverage with Infernape, but besides Escavalier, but besides that I don't have a huge amount of coverage. So I think Blastoise opens the door for me to deal with certain mons more so than a Hitmontop would have. Okay,
that makes sense. That makes sense. I was questioning it.
Yeah, I definitely considered Hitmontop for sure.
All right, I do believe we can go into your next pick. That's a Mamoswine. And once again, for some reason, you seem to snag these Pokemon late round. I don't know how Mamoswine ended up here. I have no idea.
Yeah, I was pretty happy.
That's pretty crazy, because Mamoswine is such a great mon. Stealth Rocker, once again, you address your Stealth Rock needs. Having the Mamoswine that possesses Ice type moves and Ground types moves that are stab, that's so big, because if we know anything, whenever you're in doubt, you just go for Earthquake.
Yes.
But there's Flying type Pokemon.
Yeah, and then...
Well, you've got Ice Shard.
Mamoswine was so huge for me because at this point I was taking the best OUB available because I did not like much in OUB. I was considering Starmie before I took Blastoise, but I wanted a bulkier mon than Starmie to be my spinner. So, and plus Starmie has that knockoff weakness. So I just waited. I waited, and then Mamoswine was there, and I looked at both my division opponents. And I'm like, holy crap! Ice and Ground hurt both these guys pretty effectively.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that.
So I was like, I need Mamoswine. I was so worried that he was going to get taken. Going into that pick, I was like, Mamoswine really rounds out my team pretty well. It gives me another Stealth Rocker, which I needed, because everyone would know if I'm going against a team that's weak against Stealth Rocks, and Ferdinand's going to be having Stealth Rocks if I didn't get another one. So Mamoswine was a desperate need for my team, because I also lacked a good amount of power on my team, I feel like.
And it has a really great ability that is Thick Fat. So not only do you address your Thunder weakness that was with Crobat, Thunders is sort of neutral, Blastoise, and sometimes Altaria on rare days. But but Mamoswine totally resists that. Plus that Ice weakness that you could possibly have, or if someone wants to go for an Ice type move, well, guess what? Mamoswine has Thick Fat, and that sort of does a lot less damage on it and keeps Mamoswine around much longer than it usually would. So I love the pick considering where it's at. It makes sense to put that on your team. It adds another Stealth Rocker, and it's got priority too, so it makes a lot of sense to me. I love where it is, where you picked it, what you're going to do with it, and how it's going to work with your team. Your next pick, however, we're going to go with the double M's over here, the Musharna, and I think this is a really awesome pick just because you address, once again, Musharna is a great, I do believe NU Pokemon. It's a great NU-mon just because it's so bulky, it's got Synchronize. Just in case you want to just spread that status love all around, you can do that. You can do that.
Double Heal Bell walls.
Yeah, that too.
Double Baton Pass walls. Double Wish walls.
Like I said, it was a really great pick.
Just real quick, I saw Musharna, I was like, this is a Psychic type Umbreon. It's not as bulky as Umbreon, but it does everything Umbreon does. So I don't have to bring Umbreon.
Yeah, I didn't like... At first, because normally what I run on the Musharna is Assault Vest and put 4 coverage moves on it, and it does a great job in the NU tier because people can't break it down. But I'm really interested to see, because knockoff is a thing, I'm really interested to see how you're going to use this thing. I know that if you want to address any speed, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. Does Musharna get Trick Room? So that's always a viable option to put on your team, just because at some point, like as your drafts go later on, I don't think they're the fastest things around, but Musharna sort of addresses, hey, guess what? I can Trick Room, everything's faster, and you're in a sticky situation.
I fell in love with Musharna when I started putting Pokemon on my channel, YouTube channel, which I wasn't doing before, and I did NU battles, and dear God, this thing... I brought the team it was on, got carried all the way up to OU. I did a certain thing where I battle a certain amount per tier, and I got all the way up to OU with it. And this thing was still tanking hits even in OU. I think I forgot what the mon was, but there were no boost on either side. I was I was especially defensive, and it took 3 knockoffs to get it to like if he would have got a 1 high roll, it would have been dead. But it took 3 knockoffs. And plus it gets self recovery, like it gets Moonlight, it gets Wish, like I said, it gets Baton Pass, it has Synchronize, it gets dark coverage with Dazzling Gleam, it gets Moonblast, and I just don't see it. Like the only downside I think is the knockoff.
Yeah, that's about it. But considering it's an NU pick, you got really points for its value. Your next pick is the Spiritomb, and that addresses whatever worries you had with Musharna. It doesn't really have any like weaknesses other than Fairy. Plus, you don't really have any.
Yeah, but
you have one other Pokemon that's weak to Fairy.
I have,
or 3,
including Spiritomb. I have two weaknesses to Fairy. Oh no, 3. I forgot about Altaria.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
that's what happened
on
to me. I'm like, wait, no, Altaria.
But I also have 2 resistance.
A resistance. That and Spiritomb carries like 1, 2, 3,
yes.
3 resistances. I do
2
believe.
immunities too.
And that's really incredible because, and plus, it seems to me that you were really worried about knockoff itself because a lot of, whenever we went through a pick, you'd be like, knockoff is a thing. That's what wrecks people. And Spiritomb is perhaps the ultimate Pokemon to really not care about knockoff. It's resistant to knockoff, or it's just neutral. It's got bulky defense.
Will-O-Wisp.
It's got Sucker Punch. It's got a whole bunch of different things. I wanted
at least 2 Will-O-Wispers because I'm not a big fan of running Will-O-Wisp on Infernape. I will do it. I'm not saying I won't do it because I will at least do it once, but I want another Will-O-Wisper.
Yeah, and considering that you were in the middle of the draft, a lot of the Pokemon that you were thinking about might have gotten sniped or picked. And I think you did really good in terms of where you were on the draft, and a Spiritomb is a great pick because I do believe there was only a couple Ghost Pokemon left. I think it was
like the
Dust
best
Noir,
available left,
Cofagris,
and Trevenant,
and Spiritomb. And
well, I definitely have.
Yeah, if you
I had 100
extra
points left over.
Got a little cash in the bank.
So I had money to spend. Definitely, but I felt like Spiritomb was the best option because it gets Nasty Plot too, and plus it gets Shadow Sneak. I can Pursuit Trap. If I really want to, I could PP Stall. It gets really good coverage. I get Infestation, so I can trap something if I really wanted to. It gets Snarl. And
yeah, I'm not that familiar with Spiritomb itself, just because the Spiritomb that I ran was like
I was about to say it gets recovery, kind of Pain Split,
Nasty Plot, and Dark Pulse.
Gets Destiny Bond, Foul Play. So yeah, not bad. Yeah, for sure.
It's a decent mon for where you got it at. And for sure, it was one of those things that I was looking at later on.
Well, because I noticed you.
Am I a bit upset?
Noir.
Maybe. Yeah, and the exact same. But his final pick was the Mesprit, and I think this is the only mon that didn't make much sense to me. Which is all right because it's like I said, the last pick is always something that can be questioned and stuff. But like
Mesprit
you
has
gotta explain to me because I don't really know what Mesprits
defense,
do.
Special attack and special defense. It has 80 to 85 speed, 80 to 85 HP. It Stealth Rocks, U-turns, Fairy attack, Psychic attack, knockoffs. It might not get knockoff, but I think it does. Knockoffs. It's basically a Swiss Army. It's a crappy Mew, is what it is. And it was UU. And I need another Stealth Rocker. I had 2, but neither of them really want to be a designated Stealth Rocker, so I needed somebody who could be designated. It's 80 HP, 105, 105, 105, 105, 80, and it's got 3 resistances and immunities, which isn't like huge, but it's fine. And just like Musharna, it's weak, but it also gets Healing Wish. It gets where is it? I'll find it. I promise. It gets great coverage. It gets Ice Beam. It gets Screens. It gets Thunderbolt, Thunder. It gets Shadow Ball. It gets Energy Ball. It gets Thunder Wave. It gets Grass Knot, U-turn, Trick Room, Dazzling Gleam, Power Up Punch if I really want to get cheeky, Acrobatics. So Facade if I get burned. It's more just a Swiss Army knife for me.
It's just one of those versatile Pokemon. I like I said, I've never seen Mesprits used a lot.
Real quick, it also gets Fire Punch, Ice Punch,
there's
Iron
been
Tail,
other
knockoff,
there's Uxie or Azul.
Signal Beam, Skill Swap, Stealth Rock, Thunder Punch, Trick, Water Pulse, and Zen Headbutt. So it actually does not get Trick Room, I don't think.
I'm a fan of skills.
Yeah, it does. Never mind.
I'm a fan.
And it gets Substitute, obviously. But so I just got it for the pure versatility and heavy Stealth Rocker. I almost went Uxie, but I wanted something that could do two things, more than two. Like not two things as in like moveset wise, but two things as in like it could be a pure attacker. It could be a Stealth Rocker. It could be a Trick Roomer. It could be a wall, like not a true wall, but it could be a very bulky, hard to deal with Mon. And I think Mesprit was the way to go on that.
Yeah, in terms of like being unpredictable, it totally does that. And
yeah,
you won't really reveal much until you click a button and you're gonna be like, well,
because I think I cover almost every significant type
thing,
without
like,
hidden
oh
power,
man, this thing's super bulky,
which is pretty huge because now all these moves I have do more than hidden power, but I can cover it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at your team right now. The only, like, I feel like you do have a lot of things covered. The only thing that I really see is that you're gonna have to bring in the Thunderous and Therion a lot of times just because you don't have that special wall breaker. That's the only thing I really see that's a big issue. But in terms of like, you did a good job of addressing your Stealth Rock weakness by obviously drafting your last ones that weren't weak to Stealth Rocks at all. And I'm guessing that's why you did your draft, just because you wanted to get those
Scavalier, which the reason another reason I lean more towards Magnezone was because of Stealth Rock. Scavalier is neutral to it, why Magnezone resist it. That's why I kind of another reason I led more towards Magnezone. After him, I was like, I can't, doesn't matter how great the value is, I cannot take another Mon weak to Stealth Rock. It has to be neutral at the minimum, and so I made sure that's what happened.
Like, in terms of what you addressed and what you needed, I think you did that, and it's a really good draft for you. In terms of like the division you're in too, which is really huge. Once again, you're going to be facing these people,
and they both had top 3 picks
four times in the season, and
Crump
they could define if you're going to make
the
playoffs
both had,
or not.
Like, it could have been bad. It could have been a lot worse depending on how they drafted. But I feel like each time I could have drafted someone to answer to him. I'm not scared of Musharna getting walled by just running Psychic Stab on it because I can run Moonblast. I'm not scared of. Basically, I'm really not too. The only thing I'd be intimidated by is a Bugmon, but I don't plan on bringing Umbreon, Spiritomb, Musharna, Mesprit as 4 of my mods at any point. And taking them, I have 1, 2, 3 mons I think that resist bugs. So I definitely have 2 mons that resist it times 4, Crobat and Infernape.
And a little tidbit information, spoiler alert, there is no Volcarona in this league. So that would have been a huge problem for your team just because it has different things you can set up on one turn, because most likely you will have to switch out of the Volcarona and not one-shot it. The only thing that you could one-shot it with is your Crobat, and it's not in this league, so that plays a huge part on your team.
Pretty well too, but it definitely would have
are scary things.
But depending on, I'm not bringing Stealth Rocks every week, despite having 3 mons that run it. I'm not going to be like, Stealth Rocks is obviously useful no matter what, but I'm going to be assessing move needs depending on the team. Like, if one team has 1 Mon, if they're 11 that's weak to Stealth Rocks, there's no reason to bring Stealth Rocks against them. If I could have another move in that slot, that'll help me out more. So I do have a lot of Stealth Rockers, but literally I wrote down on my very first piece of paper when I first joined the league. Yeah, it was actually before I joined the league when I was looking for a league. Team needs 3 Rapid Spin Defoggers. I got 2. No, I got 2. 1 defensive wall, 1 special, like dedicated special wall. I got them. 3 Stealth Rockers, Physical Sweeper, Special Sweeper, at least 1 type immunity, 1 support focus Mon, which Umbreon, and then that was it. So
yeah, all right. So that's the end of. Well, I believe that was which one was that? The Unova Black or White
division? That
was the Unova Black division, and we're gonna be breaking it up because we realized halfway through the video that we were talking quite some time, so we're gonna break it down in divisions, And that's why you're going to see a little random weird jump cut over there. And I apologize for that. And I also want to apologize if you hear any fans on my side or Zach's side, just because it's so hot. So hot. And we're sweating. So that's the end of the Black Division. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I apologize once again. We didn't realize halfway through until like it was like an hour in. So that's how we're going to do it. We're going to break it down division by division by division. And next division, we're going to see the Control Red division. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And this is Cap, signing off. Bye, Zach. Bye.